My hands are still shaking, so I'm sorry if this is typos. I'm hiding in the bathroom, typing this on my phone. I did something I know is awful. I know it's a total violation of trust, but I had to. I went through my boyfriend Ryan's trash. And what I found, God, I feel like I'm going to be sick. Please just hear me out before you judge me. We've been together 3 years, and these last few weeks, he's become a different person. He's always been so vibrant and present, but lately he's just hollowed out. He walks around like he's running on fumes with these dark, bruised-looking circles under his eyes. He's jumpy, constantly looking over his shoulder. And his phone, which used to be communal property for music or looking up movie times, is now practically glued to his palm, always angled away from me. I convinced myself it was just stress from his job, or worse, that he was cheating. The thought was killing me. So tonight, when he asked me to take the kitchen trash out to the bin, this little, ugly voice in my head just told me to look. Just a quick peek to put my mind at ease. Right on top, under a greasy pizza box, were 3 Polaroid pictures. They were pictures of me sleeping in our bed. My mouth is slightly open in one, my hair a mess across the pillow. The sheer violation of it made my stomach drop, but that's not the worst part, it's the how. The angle of the photos is impossible. It's from high up in the corner of the ceiling where the two walls meet. There's nothing there, no shelf, no fixture, no drone small enough to be silent. You'd have to be clinging to the ceiling like a spider to get that shot. And the light, it wasn't a flash. A flash would have woken me up. It was this faint, sick-looking green light, casting these long, distorted shadows across my face. It wasn't the glow of a phone or a TV. It was a weak, phosphorescent, unhealthy green glow, like the light from a dying firefly, and it seemed to be coming from the same source as the camera. I don't know what to think. Is this some elaborate, cruel prank? Did he install a hidden camera I can't find? But why Polaroids? And what is that god-awful green light? What do I do, Reddit? How do I even confront him about something this insane? I waited for him to settle on the couch, pretending to watch some late-night show. My heart was a frantic drum against my ribs. The 3 Polaroids felt like they were burning a hole in my pocket. I walked over, my movements stiff and unnatural, and sat down on the coffee table in front of him, blocking the TV. "What's up?" he asked, his voice thick with that exhaustion I'd come to dread. He didn't look at me, his eyes were fixed on the flickering screen. I didn't say anything. I just took the pictures out of my pocket and laid them out on the table between us. 1, 2, 3, me sleeping and vulnerable, me bathed in that sickly green light. The change was instant and terrifying. He didn't get angry, he didn't get defensive, he didn't even look embarrassed. All the color drained from his face, leaving his skin a waxy, pale shade. His eyes, wide with a kind of primal terror I had never seen in another human being, finally snapped away from the TV and locked onto the photos. He physically recoiled, pulling his legs up onto the couch as if to protect himself from them. "Where did you get these?" he whispered, and his voice was a thin, reedy thing. "From the trash, Ryan," I said, my own voice trembling with a mixture of fear and accusation. "Your trash? What the hell is this? Are you spying on me?" "No. No, Lydia, it's not what you think," he stammered, his hands coming up to clutch his head. He started rocking back and forth ever so slightly. You must be mistaken. This is a joke. A really old, stupid joke from years ago. I was cleaning out some old boxes, I found them and I threw them out. That's all." His explanation was a frantic, clumsy lie. It didn't explain the angle, it didn't explain the green light, it didn't explain why he looked like he'd just seen a ghost. "A joke? Who was in on this joke, Ryan? Who was clinging to our ceiling to take these pictures?" My voice was rising, cracking. "I don't know. I don't remember," he almost yelled, his eyes darting around the room, everywhere but at me. "You've been so stressed lately, maybe you're not seeing them clearly." The accusation hung in the air. He was trying to gaslight me. He was trying to make me think I was the crazy one, but it felt so desperate, so inept. It wasn't the calculated move of a manipulative partner. It was the panicked flailing of a drowning man. His body was trembling, a fine, uncontrollable shudder that ran through his entire frame. He was genuinely, profoundly terrified. And I realized with a sudden, chilling certainty that he wasn't scared of me. He was scared of the pictures. Okay, wow, I didn't expect this to get so much attention. Thank you all for the support, even those of you who called me out for going through the trash. I know, I'm not proud of it, and every part of me feels scummy and low. But I'm operating on pure, gut-wrenching instinct right now. I'm writing this from the living room, Ryan's in the shower. The confrontation was a total disaster. After I showed him the pictures, the air in the apartment became thick and unbreathable. He just sat there, curled up on the couch, refusing to look at me or the photos. He just kept muttering, it's not real," over and over again. Finally, he got up like a 90-year-old man and said he needed a shower, that he felt sick. He didn't even look at me as he left the room. The second I heard the water start running, your comments were ringing in my ears. I felt this surge of adrenaline that pushed past the guilt. I did something else I'm not proud of. I opened his laptop. I feel like a monster, like I'm bulldozing the last 3 years of our life, but I'm past the point of caring about protocol. I had to know. I went straight for his browser history. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely control the trackpad, and what I found just throws this whole thing into a blender of insanity. It's a complete mess of contradictory searches, like his brain is firing in a dozen different directions at once. Here's a sample from the last 2 weeks. How to get rid of night terrors. Sleep paralysis demon seeing me. Okay, so he is scared of something in his sleep. That tracks with his exhaustion and his terrified reaction. For a second, I felt a wave of sympathy, then I scrolled further. Carbon monoxide poisoning symptoms long term. What does co-poisoning feel like? My heart jumped. A rational explanation, maybe we're both hallucinating, but why would he hide that? Why wouldn't he just buy a detector and tell me? Then this. Infrared filter for Polaroid camera. How to see things in the dark with film. My blood went cold. This was a direct link. He's not just experiencing something. He's actively trying to document it. He's trying to capture proof. This isn't passive fear, it's an investigation. And then the final whiplash, private investigators near me. Local psychiatric help. Am I losing my mind quiz? What is this? Is he trying to hire someone to watch the apartment, or is he trying to get himself committed? It's a roadmap to a total mental breakdown. He's fighting a war on two fronts, one against something he thinks is real, and one against the part of his own mind that's telling him he's crazy. And then I saw it. On his desktop there's a single password-protected zip file. It's just named Archive. I tried every password I could think of: my birthday, his mom's name, our anniversary, the name of our first pet, the street we live on, the name of the bar where we first met. Nothing. Access denied, access denied, access denied. It's locked down tight. The water just stopped. I have to go. He's hiding something in that folder. I don't know if he's a victim or a perpetrator, but my gut tells me the answer is in there. That night, sleep was a foreign country I couldn't get a visa for. Every creak of the old apartment building, every siren in the distance, sent a jolt of electricity through me. I lay there perfectly still, my breathing slow, and even faking a deep sleep I was nowhere near. I had to know what he did when he thought I was unconscious. For hours, nothing happened. Then, around 3 a.m., I felt the bed shift. I didn't dare open my eyes, but I listened with every fiber of my being. I heard him slip out of bed, his feet making almost no sound on the hardwood floor. I expected to hear him go to the kitchen for water or to the bathroom. Instead, I heard the soft scrape of a chair being dragged across the floor. I risked it. I opened my eyes to the thinnest of slits. The room was dark, but my eyes had adjusted enough to see his silhouette. He had moved the armchair from the reading nook into the corner of the room, the very corner the photos seemed to be taken from. And he was just sitting there, not on his phone, not reading. Just sitting, upright and rigid, a sentinel in the dark. He was watching me sleep, or more accurately, he was watching over me. He looked utterly exhausted, but his posture was one of intense, unwavering vigilance. He was guarding me. This went on for what felt like an eternity, just the sound of our breathing in the room. Then, just as the first hint of dawn began to soften the edges of the window, he moved again. He got up, went to his closet, and retrieved something from the top shelf. It was a small, dark wooden box, the kind you'd keep old letters or jewelry in. He brought it back to the chair, sat down, and opened it. I couldn't see what was inside, but I saw his reaction. Even in the gloom, I saw his body flinch. He stared into the box for a solid minute, his face a mask of what I can only describe as horrified reverence. Then he snapped it shut, the click echoing in the silent room, and quickly placed it back on the shelf before quietly slipping back into bed beside me. The next day, as soon as he left for work, claiming he needed to clear his head, I went straight for the closet. The box was there, tucked behind a stack of old sweaters. It was old, the wood smooth with age. It wasn't locked. My hands trembled as I opened it. It didn't contain a camera or anything I could have predicted. The contents were bizarre, nonsensical. A single, perfectly preserved, desiccated locust. A shard of dark, smoked glass, so dark it was almost opaque. And beneath them, a fresh stack of at least a dozen more Polaroids. My stomach churned. I fanned them out on the bed. Some were like the others, pictures of me sleeping, bathed in that same sickly green light from that impossible ceiling angle, but others were new. They were pictures of the empty bedroom, the bed neatly made, the chair in the corner, just the room, but they weren't just pictures of an empty room. In the corner of every single one there was a smudge, a dark, distorted blur like a greasy thumbprint on the inside of the camera lens. It was in the exact same spot on every photo. I shuffled through them, my heart pounding. The smudge was just a smudge, a meaningless flaw, until I got to the last one. In this photo taken of the empty bed, the light must have hit it just right. The smudge wasn't just a blur, it had a shape. Vague, distorted, but undeniable, it looked like a face. A long, screaming, silent face. I can't breathe, I'm losing it. I'm actually losing my mind. The box, the pictures, it's so much worse than a hidden camera. I'm sitting on the floor of my bedroom right now and I can't stop shaking. The new photos are spread out around me like some kind of tarot reading from hell. That smudge, that face, I know it's probably just pareidolia, you know. Your brain trying to find patterns in random shapes, like seeing a face in a cloud. But it doesn't feel random, it feels intentional. It feels like it's looking right at me from inside the photograph. What does it mean? Is Ryan some kind of cultist performing bizarre rituals while I sleep? Is the locust in the smoked glass part of it? Or is he so profoundly mentally ill that he's creating this elaborate, terrifying folklore for himself, and now he's dragging me into it? Or, and this is the thought that's making me want to claw my own skin off, is he telling the truth? Is he not crazy at all? Is he trying to protect me from something that leaves greasy, face-shaped smudges on photographs? I don't know which reality is more terrifying. I feel like I'm standing on a cliff in the dark, and I don't know if the ground beneath me is solid rock or about to crumble away. My phone just buzzed. It's Ryan. My heart stopped. The text says, "Don't touch the box. We need to talk. I'm coming home now." He knows, oh God, he knows I found it. He's on his way. I'm trapped in here with these pictures and I don't know who or what is about to walk through that door. The sound of his key in the lock was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. I didn't move. I just stayed on the floor, surrounded by the evidence of his madness or my own. He walked into the bedroom and stopped dead. His eyes went from my face to the open wooden box to the Polaroid pictures fanned out across the floorboards. Any fight he had left in him just evaporated. He didn't look angry or defensive, he just looked defeated. He sagged against the doorframe and a sound came out of him that was half sob, half groan. "You saw it, didn't you?" he whispered, his voice ragged. "In the last picture you saw the face." I could only nod, my throat too tight to speak. He slid down the doorframe to sit on the floor, mirroring me. He looked utterly broken. "I'm so sorry, Lydia, I was trying to keep you out of this. I was trying to handle it myself." "Handle what, Ryan?" I finally managed to choke out. "What the hell is happening?" And then he told me. The story spilled out of him in a torrent of hushed, frantic words. It was a story of his family going back generations. A story of a curse or a parasite or something they just called the Watcher. It wasn't a ghost, he said. It didn't want to hurt you, not physically, it just watched. It attached itself to one person in the family, and its constant, silent, invisible presence would slowly erode their sanity. It fed on their fear, their paranoia, until they were a hollowed-out shell. His great-uncle had died in an institution. His own father had abandoned the family when Ryan was a boy, unable to bear it anymore. Ryan thought it had skipped him. For years, his life was normal, but a few months ago he started feeling it. The sensation of being watched when he was alone, the feeling of a presence in the room just at the edge of his vision. The pictures were his grandfather's desperate discovery. For some reason, a Polaroid camera with its instant chemical process could sometimes catch a trace of it. Not the thing itself, but its impression on the world, the green light, the smudge. Taking its picture was the only thing that seemed to make it recede, even for a little while. It was like acknowledging it, seeing it, somehow satisfied it for a night or two. The locust and the smoked glass were just old, useless folk remedies his grandmother had sworn by. Superstitions he clung to out of sheer desperation. "I've been staying up all night," he said, his voice cracking, "to see if it was still focused on me or if it had noticed you. When I saw its mark on the pictures of you, I felt my world end. I threw them out because I was a coward. I hoped if I didn't see them, it wouldn't be real." He was looking at me, his eyes pleading, begging me to believe a story that was completely and utterly insane. And in the face of his raw, abject terror, I almost did, and then we heard it. From the floor directly above our bedroom, a single, deliberate creak of a floorboard, we both froze. Every muscle in my body went rigid. We lived on the top floor. There was nothing above us but the roof. We slowly, in perfect, terrified unison, lifted our heads and stared at the ceiling. I'm in a motel room off the highway about 30 miles out of town. The fluorescent light above the desk is buzzing, and it's the most comforting sound in the world. After the creak, nothing happened. We stayed like that, frozen, for what felt like hours, just staring at the ceiling, listening. The silence that followed was somehow worse than the noise itself. It was a heavy, listening silence. Eventually, the sun came up. I packed a bag. Ryan didn't try to stop me. He just sat on the floor looking small and lost. I couldn't stay there. I couldn't look at him without seeing the madness in his story. and I couldn't look at him without seeing the absolute soul-deep love that made him sit in a chair all night to watch over me. I don't know what to believe. My rational mind is screaming that he's had a psychotic break, a genetic inheritance of mental illness that's finally bloomed into this intricate, terrifying delusion. The creak was just the building settling. Old apartments do that, but I can't shake the feeling, I can't unsee the look on his face, and I can't unsee the picture. Before I left, I took that last Polaroid, the one with the face. Here, under the harsh, ugly light of this motel room, I've been looking at it on my phone, zoomed in as far as it will go. It's just a smudge, a trick of the light and the weird chemical reaction of the film. It has to be, but if I turn the brightness all the way up and stare at it long enough, it really, truly does look like a face. And I'm left with one question that I think will haunt me for the rest of my life. What's more terrifying? The idea that the man I love is a danger to himself and possibly to me, or the idea that he's perfectly sane and telling the absolute truth? I don't have an answer, I don't think I ever will.